My Brother-in-Law Adolf, by Bridget Hitler, tells the story of the early life of her son, the elusive William. It is, however, also the original source for some of the most persistent Hitler myths, a fact that casts a shadow over its veracity.
I don't really think that we thought it was a hoax at any one time. We thought she may have had elements of fantasy, but there's a difference between somebody perpetrating a hoax to deliberately mislead people as opposed to somebody who perhaps was not of the greatest intelligence trying to recall things that had happened 30-odd years before.
The book tells how the 17-year-old Dublin girl Bridget Dowling met and eloped to England with a dashing waiter, Alois Hitler, Adolf's half-brother. They married and settled in Liverpool, which is where William was born, in 1911.
It's written as memoirs, not as a diary. It's 225 pages long. It finishes on a comma. It's incomplete. It's fundamentally unchanged, unlike most sort of first drafts of manuscripts where you have a lot of change and crossing out. There's very, very little of that on the manuscript, which would either indicate that she had a ghostwriter helping her do it, or that this was a second or third draft. Why it was unfinished, we absolutely don't know.
One of the most startling revelations in the memoirs is the story of the arrival in 1912 of a shabby youth from Europe, an unwelcome, slovenly houseguest. Bridget claimed the unwanted visitor was her brother-in-law, Adolf Hitler. Although they were written some 40 years earlier, Bridget Hitler's memoirs were not published until 1979. Their description of the arrival of her young brother-in-law, Adolf Hitler, at Lime Street train station became the inspiration for Beryl Bainbridge's novel Young Adolf, a fictionalized account of his time in Liverpool.
I'd been told by Mike Unger that the Bridget Hitler's diary, the actual thing, was in the New York Public Library. And I happened to be over there about 6 months or so later. So I went there, greatly excited. And it was odd because it wasn't sort of on the shelves somewhere. It was in a sort of rather, well, small room. And it had been placed on the table, and it was, I had the feeling I was sort of enclosed in a cage or something, that this book was so important. And it was almost as if the door was locked behind me. I was impressed by it because everything she wrote about, she could have got from a magazine at the time, about Birch's Garden and about how her son worked in the bank and how Alois did this, that and the other. But the one thing you couldn't make up, or it seemed real, was this business about going to Lime Street Station and seeing this puff of smoke as the train came to the halt. And out came this shabby young man with his